Hi guys, today we're going to be going over USACO 2018 Team Tic Tac Toe. So, in this problem, Farmer John owns 26 cows and they have unique names that range from A through Z. And all cows are unique, so no two cows would have the same name starting, or no two cows would have a name starting with A. So, the cows like to play tic tac toe, but they've created a variant of the game where multiple cows can play at once. So you play on a 3x3 tic-tac-toe, regular tic-tac-toe board, except obviously multiple cows can play. And so basically an example of the board would be this. So as you can see, there's different letters on the board. So in this variant of tic-tac-toe, the cows fill in all of the 9 squares and then they're confused about who has won the game. So just like regular tic-tac-toe, if one cow has taken up an entire row, column, or diagonal, they win. But obviously, this is not really likely, and the cows don't think so either because there's a lot of players. So they allow the cows to form teams of two, and the team of two cows can claim victory if any row, column, or diagonal has characters that only belong to the two cows on the team. And moreover, if the characters from both cows are used in this row, column, or diagonal, right? So we're trying to help the cows figure out how many individuals or two cow teams can claim victory, and the same square on the board might possibly be usable in different claims, several different claims to victory. So basically that just means that this, for example, this row could be used with the C in it, and then this column could be used with the C in it to win twice, or have two possibilities of winning. So the input just has 3 lines, which with 3 characters in every line, which is just the tic-tac-toe board. And the output consists of 2 lines. On the first line, we output the number of individual cows that can claim victory, and on the second line, output the number of two cow teams that can claim victory. And so this is the explanation. So basically, no single cow can claim victory here because there's not a row, column, or diagonal that has one cow dominating. But if we have two cow teams, then we can win a couple of the rows or the columns or diagonals. So as you can see here, if X and O team up, then they can win right here. And then if you see this diagonal here, if C and X team up, then they can win this diagonal here. So that's the problem is pretty straightforward, and now we can start programming.
Okay, so this program is actually kind of long, but it's actually not as bad as you guys might think, so just bear with me. I mean, it's like 90-ish lines, but I mean, trust me, it's not as bad as it seems. It's, as you can see, it's kind of repetitive. So we have our usual stuff here, right? We have our static variables, and we have something called grid, which is a 2D character array, and that's going to be used to hold the tic-tac-toe letters. And then we're taking those in here using a for loop, right? That's the only input we take in. And then now that's out of the way, we can just go to our solve method. So I made 2 integers, one is called 1 and one is called team. It's just basically keeping track of like, one is just keeping track of the solo possible wins, and team is keeping track of the possible team wins, right? So teams of 2. And used is going to just hold the already used teams or individuals, because obviously we don't want to get duplicates, so we have an array list for the used teams or individuals. So what I did here is I have a for loop that just goes from just runs 3 times, right? For each row and each column, we're checking those at the same time just to make it easier. As you can see, I have 2 of the very similar looking for loops, and then these 2 look very similar as well. And this one is going to be checking. This one is going to be checking the rows, and then this one is going to be checking the columns. I know because of this, right? So it's going through row and column, but the row is staying the same. So we know that it's checking the the 80th row, and then this one is checking the 80th column, right? So yeah. So basically, all you need to know is it's just checking if all three of these are the same. So grid A0, grid A1, grid A2, it's checking that all three of these are the same. And that just basically means like, for example, okay, let me write out like a example grid. We could have like, actually, I'll just copy the grid that we have, comment it out. So basically, it's just like checking if this row has three characters that are identical to each other, and it's also checking if used contains the character sequence. Right, so let's pretend that this was let's pretend that this was CCC, and then basically if this was all the same, right? So which it is here, it's going to check, does the used array list contain the CCC combination? And if it does, then it's not going to run this. If it doesn't, if CCC is new, then it's going to add 1 to the 1 counter, and it's going to do it's going to add the CCC combo to the used because we just used it, right? This is doing the exact same thing just for the column, and this is doing the same thing for the team. You might have noticed that I do something. I run a method called combo here. I'll actually go over that right now because it's used a lot. So the method combo takes in 3 characters, and what it does is it's going to we have a new character array with length 2, and it's length 2 because the teams are of 2, right? So that's the maximum amount of characters that we can use to win. So basically it's checking it's basically finding which letter is the odd one out, right? So it's saying if A is not equal to B and A is not equal to C, so if A is different from the rest, then the array will contain A and B, right? So it's basically just storing the pairs of when we have a team. And when we don't have a team, it's still storing the 2-letter pair, just so that we can check if we've already used an individual win. So for example, like if we had AAA, it would store AA into the it would return AA right here. And if we had like a team and the row was ABA, then it would print out, or it would return AB, right? It would return AB. So that's what the combo method does. And here you can see I used a team method, right? So what this does is basically it's, when I call this team method, I put in 3 characters, and all it's doing is it's checking if 2 characters of the 3 are equal to each other and 1 is the odd one out. So basically it's if 2 characters are the same and 1 is not the same as the other 2, then it'll return true, right? Which means that we have a possible team win here. And then it's also checking if the team combo is in the used array list. And it's doing that for the rows and for the columns. So this for loop is checking if there are horizontal and vertical wins for the individuals and for the teams. And this one is doing the diagonals. So basically, right, we have this if statement here. It's checking if 0, 0 is equal to 1, 1 is equal to 2, 2. So that would be this one right here, this one right here, and this one right here. It's checking if they are equal to each other. And it's also making sure that it's not in the used pile either, right, as you can see here. And then we're doing the same thing, but for the other diagonal. So 0, 2 would be this, 1, 1 would be this, and 2, 0 would be this. And it's checking if these are equal to each other. And it's also making sure it's not in the use pile. And then if, let's say that we do have a diagonal that has, like, for example, let's say this was CCC. Then it would add 1 to the 1 variable, right? And then it would add the combination to the used pile as well. We do the same thing for the team, right? So basically it's checking do we have like, for example, this was CXC, right? So it's saying like, we're gonna pass in the 3 characters into the team method. The team method is gonna check if we have 2 characters that are the same and 1 that is different, and we do, right? So actually, let's run this. So we have, we pass in 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2, right? So it's gonna pass in C, X, C in that order. And so once it passes it in, we go through the if statements, and we notice that A is equal to C and C is not equal to B, so we return true. And then here, all we do is we just add 1 to the team, and we put it in the use pile, and we do the same for the other diagonal. And that's really it. So we're just checking if we have individual or team wins for the vertical and horizontal here, and then we're checking manually if we have them in the diagonals here. This method just checks if we have 2 variables that are the same, or sorry, 2 characters that are the same and 1 that is different, which is the criterion that a team win needs to meet, basically. And then this array base, or sorry, not this array, this method combo, it just basically takes in 3 characters and outputs a 2-character combination, right? That represents a team. So for example, ABA could be, would turn into AB, because ABA is a team win, and the team consists of the cow A and cow B. And if it's just an individual, so like AAA, then it would just return AA, because we still need to add it to the use pile. So it's just formatting the characters so we can add them to the used pile properly, and we can check if they're in the used pile later. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And now we can submit. So yeah, as you guys can see, it passes all the test cases. I know that program was a little long, so yeah, I apologize, but it is the simplest solution, I think. You can kind of do it manually without the for loop that I use for the horizontal and vertical, but obviously that just takes up more lines. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm not the best at USACO, so if you guys catch any errors or have any suggestions or anything like that, you guys can also leave those in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching.